to let you know what places you can visit, what places you cannot visit. No, we gotta make noise. Conservatives, this is your section. Let's start talking to conservatives. Conservatives, we have as of right now, we have one very important tool at our disposal to send the message, right? And that tool that we don't make use of it properly, I'm guessing we're scared, or we just don't have the will, the drive to do it, or we really just don't care. Our emotions and what we believe are just, we're gonna go into a YouTube video and give it a like or something, or share a meme on Instagram or something, and we think that's enough. That's gonna change policy and that's gonna change our intern and our community. That's not gonna work. Leftists have taken over all institutions. They have taken, and especially the ones that matter. Education, all education or colleges, university for the most part are leftist. They have even grained themselves heavily, to my surprise, in the church. They are obviously they control probably 98.9% of media out here, right? They control a lot of the stuff, right? And when you have media, you basically you shape your truth. We have the boycott, and we're not using that tool properly. We have our conservative dollars, and we're not sending them where we're supposed to send them. We're not supporting the people we're supposed to send them. I titled this, the thumbnail of this video right here is called "Republicans Buy Sneakers Too." That is a book by sportscaster Clay Davis, right? He's now at Outkick. For people who enjoy, on the conservative side, enjoy sports, go check out outkick.com. They have a YouTube channel too. They're doing some great stuff over there. He says that Republican buy sneakers too. They are trying to just bill Republicans in general. This is in general. So if you're a Republican and you're conservative, they're trying to bill you as racist. Doesn't matter what race you are. Doesn't matter if you're black, if you're white, if you're Latino like me, Latino conservative Republican. They're just trying to label everybody as racist, right? This is their words. So we're gonna get into President Joe Biden, who says, you remember that speech at the beginning of his thing? Yeah, I want to unite America. I want to be the uniter. No, you don't, homeboy. You just say that, but in reality, you are destroying, you are dividing people. You are labeling a whole group of people that want a certain thing racist, right? So the whole situation is the thing in Georgia. And this is very important if you want to know exactly what's going on in Georgia. It's not that complicated. It's actually very simple what's going on in Georgia. In Georgia, because of the debacle that happened in the 2020 elections, which to this day, I'm not, listen, we had, as Republicans, as people on the right, we had plenty of chances to prove it in court that there was fraud, and we couldn't do it. Those are just the facts. But for example, the suitcases that were coming out the table in Atlanta, Georgia, to this day, I don't have an answer for. The only answer, I think a fact checker said, Livewire, it wasn't Livewire, something like that. I forget. It was like, nah. It wasn't suitcases. Those were official ballot boxes. That was the only thing that I saw about that. But to this day, for me, for Valentine, there's no answer to that. So because of all that stuff, because of some irregularities, the Republicans in the state decided to safeguard the elections. I've talked to plenty of people who said that they don't trust the system. I have a friend that his first time ever voting, and he lost, right? But he tell me he feels that he can't trust the system. I think the Supreme Court failed the United States of America by not even taking in a case and at least telling the American people. If the Supreme Court decided, I think the American people, the 75 million that voted for Donald Trump, would have been a little bit, they will feel better regarding the results in the election. There's a lot of people to this day that don't trust the elections, and the Supreme Court could, I think, ease that a little bit, and they didn't. So the legislatures in Georgia in particular decided to do something about it. Let's safeguard the elections. Let's require ID. Democrats right away say, oh, requiring ID. You know what? That's racist because black people are dumb people and they can't get IDs. That's basically what they're saying. They say, oh, no, you can't require ID to vote because black people don't have IDs. I'm like, so black people don't have credit. That's what they're saying. Basically, black people don't have credit cards. Black people can't buy alcohol. Black people can't rent cars. Black people can't do this because you need an ID to all this stuff. Yet they're labeling as this as racist, right? So we have Joe Biden here on ESPN. ESPN, last time I checked, was a sports outlet. They're not supposed to be doing politics. Like, you want to get away from politics, how crazy this world of politics is, and you look into sports, and you're gonna have the grandpa president Joe Biden on ESPN talking about politics. Like, I don't care. And then he starts look at what he says here. So he lies so much that even the Washington Post, which is a left-leaning organization, gives him 4 Pinocchios for being a liar and just sowing division in the United States of America, and basically calling the people that support this law, oh, you're just a racist. Look what he says here. This is on ESPN.
Etc. I think we should move in that direction.
I'd like to switch gears quickly, Mr. President. Sports and politics cross paths sometimes. That's exactly what happened last week in Major League Baseball. Tony Clark is the executive director of the Major League Baseball Players Association. He said he would, quote, look forward to discussing moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta because Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signed into law a bill passed by the Republican-led state legislature to overhaul how its state elections are run. So, Mr. President, what do you think about the possibility that baseball decides to move their All-Star game out of Atlanta because of this political issue?
I think today's professional athletes are acting incredibly responsibly. I would strongly support them doing that.
This is not professional athletes, to be honest. This is not none of the athletes. This is one guy, MLB, the commissioner, decided to move the All-Star game from Atlanta, and they put it to Denver, Colorado. This has nothing to do with the athletes.
People look to them. They're leaders. Look at what's happened.
That's another thing. Thank God for BLM and all these things, because none of these professional athletes, no, we don't look to them as leaders. These people just play sports. And as you guys see, they have plenty of problems on their own with women and with drugs and with this. We don't look to them. These people are not no leaders.
With the NBA as well. Look at what's happened across the board. The very people who are victimized the most are the people who are the leaders in these various sports. And it's just not right. This is Jim Crow on steroids.
Did you hear that? Jim Crow on steroids. We're going to get into the details. Please don't go anywhere. If you want clarity of this law, don't go anywhere. We're going to be getting into the details right after this. This guy is calling this Jim Crow on steroids, which is it affront? To be honest, it's bad for the people that suffered through Jim Crow to calling this Jim Crow on steroids, and they're asking for an ID, and they're telling people not to pass out water or food while they are online waiting to vote. But I'm guessing Democrats want to have a 5-star meal online.
What they're doing in Georgia and 40 other states. What it's all about. Imagine passing a law saying you cannot provide water.
Liar.
Or food for someone standing in a line.
Liar.
To vote. Can't do that?
No, you liar.
Come on. Or you're going to close a polling place at 5 o'clock when working people just get off?
Liar.
This is all about keeping working folks and ordinary folks that I grew up with from being able to vote.
No, you're not. You're liar.
If they do decide to move the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, it won't be the first time in professional sports. They moved the 2017 NBA All-Star Game out of Charlotte for political reasons as well.
Woke capitalism doing what woke capitalism does. Guys, this is why you got to be strategic about where are you sending your money? You got to be strategic where you're sending your money. I'm emphatic about calling Joe Biden a liar because that's what he is, a liar, and I'm gonna prove it here. Look at, but before I prove it, look at the the statement from Major League Baseball, which I was excited to start watching some Major League Baseball. Listen, guys, I do not want to be talking about politics 24/7. Politics and current events, especially the current events that are happening now on the world, are very stressful. I don't like to be on politics all the time because it's so much negativity. I want something else to look at to entertain myself. And I play baseball and I'm Dominican, right? I'm Dominican. Hey, I play baseball. We play that baseball. You know how I go. So I play baseball. And I was looking forward last year because of the Rona to get into baseball. Everybody's locked up and we want to get into baseball. No, this year, I'm going to have to boycott them again. That's what it seems like I'm leaning towards. But I still got to see. I'm not gonna say that I'm going to boycott them 100%. But it seems like I'm leaning towards there because they're just, why are you getting involved in politics? Look at, excuse me, they moved the All-Star game to Denver, Colorado. They took it out of Atlanta, and even Stacey Abrams said, "Hey, please don't boycott Georgia. Don't boycott Georgia." Look at the statement by this guy right here, and he doesn't even mention what aspects of the law he's against. Basically, woke capitalism just wants to make sure that everybody's happy with them and that their bottom line doesn't get affected. That's what woke capitalism does. And there's no limit to what they will support. They're trying to get Coca-Cola and Delta to get in with the cause and give statements on the law in Georgia. But look what it says here. Commissioner of Baseball Robert D. Manfred Jr. issued the following statement today regarding the 2021 All-Star. Over the last week, we have engaged in thoughtful conversations with clubs, former and current players, the Players Association, and the Players Alliance, among others, to listen to their views. I have decided that the best way to demonstrate our values as a sport is by relocating the year's All-Star Game and Major League Draft. Major League Baseball fundamentally supports voting rights for all Americans and opposes restrictions to the ballot box. There's no restrictions. There's people that are calling them this. They're even making them bigger. In 2020, Major League Baseball became the first professional sports league to join the nonpartisan Civic Alliance to help build a future in which everyone participates in shaping the United States. We proudly use our platform to encourage baseball fans and communities throughout our country to perform their civic duty and actively participate in the voting process. Fair access to voting continues to have our game's unwavering support. We will continue with our plans to celebrate the memory of Hank Aaron's during this season's All-Star festivities. In addition, MLB planned investments to support local communities in Atlanta as part of our All-Star Legacy projects will move forward. We are finalizing a new host city, and details should be about these events will be announced shortly. Again, there's no details of the law. That's all. They just claim voter suppression. I mean, like Democrats do. There is no voter suppression. Look at this. The Washington Post gives Biden four Pinocchios for being a liar about the laws. Now we're going to be getting into some of the details. That way you guys see exactly what's going on. Why this man is a liar. And this guy right here, this old guy right here is just a politician that is just trying to just get a political gain of a political situation. There's another law. I have not investigated this. Maybe I'll investigate it for Friday. Remember, we have the live call-in show. Today's not going to be a live call-in show. I am going to be talking with you guys later in the chat. But the live call-in show is every Friday from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Maybe I get the details for you guys there. So they are labeling this law Jim Crow laws. They are trying to make the laws racist. If you support them, you're racist. In efforts, I'm not sure if there's a bill introduced or will be introduced to federalize elections, meaning And if they want to do this now, it's obviously for Democrats to set the laws, the federal laws regarding elections. As of right now, the election laws are individual of state. So state decides what are the laws. But I forget the name of the bill. Maybe somebody in the chat, one of you guys could let me know. What's the name of the bill that was introduced to federalize the law? So they're trying to make this law look negative. That way they say, look, the law is negative. Now the federal government has to take control of the election, which is horrible. Obviously, we want a limited government. Now let's see here. The Washington Post. Let me see which one. Obviously, you guys saw this. Biden, whose White House called the legislation Jim Crow in the 21st century, has repeatedly insinuated that the law limits voting opportunities. Among the outrageous parts of the new state law, it ends voting hours early so working people can cast their votes after their shift is over, he said in a statement on Friday. That's the statement that you guys just saw, which he's a liar. Look what it says here. Right here. But the law makes listen to this. But the law makes no changes to Georgia's election day voting hours, which run from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Experts say the net effect was to expand opportunities to vote for Georgians, not limit them, the Post reported. MIT election expert Charles Stewart III, who studied the law language for the paper, found that it indicated an expansion of hours, especially in rural counties. So look what it says here. As for early voting hour, the law specifically mentions that the voting sites are required to open beginning 9 a.m. and ending at 5 p.m. The specification, however, does not benefit Biden's characterizations, as the Post noted. Many listeners might assume he was talking about voting on election day, not early voting. This is early voting. There's a requirement for early voting to be from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. But not even that. They still could even run it longer if they want than that for early voting, not on election day. Imagine closing the polls on election day at 5 p.m. when people are getting off of work. But that's what, they say here that's what Joe Biden insinuated. Look, and I'll read it here. The Georgia election officially told the paper that the change was due to the fact that some rural election officials only work part-time, with the new law now forcing them to be open for at least 8 hours on weekdays. So it expanding the 8 hours more on weekdays. That designation is only the minimum. However, the law also allows for counties to operate voting booths anywhere between, listen to this, anywhere from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The law also added an additional Saturday of mandatory early voting, as well as 2 optional Sundays. So it expands the times. But these liars, the Democratic Party, who wants to, is it me, or does it seem that the Democratic Party, in efforts to gain control, want to destroy America? Is it me? Am I going crazy? Somebody let me know in the chat below if I'm going crazy, right? So now let's get to some of the, you guys have heard, right? Oh, there's no food. Oh, they don't, like you saw Joe Biden. Oh, these people don't want water to be given out to people. No, Joe Biden. You know that's not the cause, right? That's not it. I mean, I voted plenty of times. Thank God I've never, and I'm in New York City, so where I voted, I've never been at a long line that I needed water to be given or a meal to be given to me. And just because of that, supposedly they saying that that's bad and that's suppressing the vote. No, they're trying to stop something called, and should I get into that? Okay, so the first question, I'm gonna get into the whole water and food situation, but let's get into this. This is a story by BBC, and there's a couple of questions that I'm gonna answer here. Will voting hours be restricted? Will there be fewer drop boxes? Can early votes be cast on Sunday? And are people banned from giving water to voters? Those are some of the questions that we need to know here, right? So the voting hours being restricted, I just answered that before. No, the voting hours are not restricted. There's a requirement of it being from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., but they could work, and this is for early voting, very important, not election day, early voting, but they could actually run it from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., as it says here, and it's requiring them to be open more hours, as you guys saw before that I proved to you guys. So there is no restriction of the hours. Okay, will there be fewer drop boxes? Drop boxes, listen to this, drop boxes, which in my opinion, I don't know if it's a good thing, I don't know if it's a bad thing. They are now requiring, if you solicit an absentee ballot, that you have proof of ID, which is great. Not nobody's just gonna be, hey, call up, hey, send me a ballot here at this address. I need one, without proof of an ID or a social security number. I think that's great. We're talking about elections here. We're talking about choosing the president, the leader of the world, right? This is very important. We can just cannot be sending out these things and drop boxes on top of that. So before the whole Rona situation, there were, you know how many drop boxes were in the state of Georgia? 0. Oh my God, I just did the KKK. I don't know. This might be the KKK white power sign or the 666. I apologize for the conspiracy theories, but yeah, 0, right? There were 0 drop boxes in the state of Georgia. So this law actually expands it to, for example, look, in Fulton County, it will go down from 38. Actually, it won't expand it, but it will leave some, right? There's 38 now in one county, Fulton County. It will make it to, it will be only 8, which is good. Why do you need so many drop boxes? I think that just opens up the door for fraud. We don't need fraud. The new law also means the boxes will be held in buildings and can only be accessed in the hours that the early voting is allowed. Again, that we talked about before, rather than 24 hours a day, as was the case in 2020. Imagine a drop box in the middle of nowhere, open 24 hours a day. That is insanity, right? It just opens the floodgates for people to go in the drop boxes, take them out, take out the votes that they don't want, leave the ones they want. I mean, a whole bunch of things. To be honest, again, I mean, this is something that I'm torn on. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that there's these drop boxes. To be honest, my vote will not be dropped. If I lived in the state of Georgia, I would not be dropped in a drop box. I want my vote to count, and I'm gonna go on voting, early voting, but at a place, not putting it in no drop box or on election day, plain and simple. Now, this was a real controversy point. There is an initiative in Georgia which is called Souls to the Polls, right? So people right after church, they will go on Sundays to go and vote. They said that the Republicans were racist to do this, right? For trying to block it on Sundays. This measure never even made it into the thing, into the law that's active now. One of the most controversial elements of the bill initially proposed by Republicans was the elimination of Sunday early voting. Sunday voting is especially important to the Black church in Georgia, a strongly Democratic voting bloc, which churchgoers often encouraged to vote after Sunday service, which is an initiative known as Souls to the Polls. Democrat Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said Republicans recently passed a bill to eliminate early voting on Sundays, but this element of the bill wasn't passed, and Republicans backtracked following criticism. The final bill allows 2 days of early voting Sundays, which is now formally signed into law. An additional day of mandatory Saturday early voting has also been added. Again, I mean, expansion of voting. Now, let's talk about this term called passive electioneering, or some people just call it electioneering. The crazy thing, right, is food or water not being allowed to be given to people at voting lines. Sounds, if you tell it to somebody that doesn't know anything about anything, be like, wow, they I can't drink water. They can't give me a bottle of water if I'm online. It just seems so bad that these Republicans are don't want these people to do. No, that's not the case. You could bring your own water. You could bring your own 5-star meal. You could bring a table, set it up, eat a whole lobster if you want online, right? If this is what you want to do. I'm guessing this is a Democratic thing, but Republicans don't do that. What they're trying to stop is called something called passive electioneering. Electioneering is you cannot be doing any type of campaign activities at polling places. For example, you can't even wear as a MAGA supporter, you can wear something that says MAGA on it, because that means that you're trying to influence the vote. You can't wear a hat with any political message. Look what it says here. This is thanks to the U.S. legal passive electioneering refers to the methods of influencing the voters to vote for a particular candidate or a party. Passive electioneering is done by wearing campaign t-shirts or carrying pamphlets to the voting location. But Democrats might say they don't want people to wear certain paraphernalia that says thing, but Democrats will say, oh, no, Republicans don't want people to be dressed at the polling places. They're making shirts illegal now. You cannot wear a shirt going to the polling place. This is how Democrats will say something. They will make some stupidity up like that because they're very good with words. Election law in the U.S. prohibits the practice of electioneering. There are many state laws in the U.S. relating to passive electioneering. For example, the New York State Board of Electioneering has prohibited wearing campaign t-shirts at voting places. This is what they're trying to stop, that when they pass you this bottle of water, they say, hey, yo, remember, we got to take this, we got to take Trump out of here. You know what I mean? We got to take him out of here. They're trying to stop that. And I say that because it happened to my parents when they went to vote. A person in Spanish got up to them and told them, and they didn't know, because if it was me, that it would have been a huge problem. It would have been a huge problem at that voting place. They told them, they got up to them and they told them, hey, listen, we got to take this idiot out of here, talking about Trump, a person that worked there. So they're trying to stop stuff like that when they pass out a sandwich or something like that. To influence the vote, right? So look what it says. The law makes it an offense to give away food or water within 150 feet of the polling place or within 25 feet of any voter in line. Violations can be punishable by up to a year in jail and $1,000 fine. That's just good. But again, if you don't know the law, then it's a problem, right? Then they bill it. Joe Biden comes out and says they don't even want you to have water, as he says it, and people are like, these Republicans are insanity, right? I mean, that's just the way it is, man. And obviously, the ID requirements were, get an ID. Stop telling black people that they can't get IDs. You need ID, plain and simple. I hope that makes sense, and I hope when these Democrats and these liberals, like you saw Major League Baseball statement, they don't talk no aspects of the law in particular, because the law makes sense. Even when the Washington Post disagrees with Joe Biden, there's a problem. And this is how they're trying to build against these Democrats, man. This is what they are. Guys, thank you for the people that are here, man. Hey, man, a lot of people, a lot of activity in the chat. We're going to get into a doozy one right now. We're going to get into a doozy.